Hey everybody, welcome to the Cosmic Couch. My name is Robert, and this is a impressions video about Assassin's Creed Mirage. Just my thoughts about it and comparing it with the other Assassin's Creed game, particularly the first one. As you can see, it looks like Altair. You can get Altair's skin, and it's in the same type of setting as the first one. So what I'd like to do is maybe talk about whether or not it's worth it to get this. Do you want to get Mirage or not? Depending on who you are, how old you are, when you started playing these games 14 years ago, or is this a first time for you? So I'm talking more, I would say this video is more for people who actually played Assassin's Creed all the way back when it came out in like 2007. Because this is what it is. If you're wondering, is Assassin's Creed Mirage a throwback to Assassin's Creed 1? Yes, it is. You can even get the skin for the original character, which I thought was so great. It felt like Ubisoft was kind of answering my prayers. Personally, I have always considered Assassin's Creed 1 to be my favorite of the franchise. Assassin's Creed 4 definitely after that, and you know, it's been hit and miss with Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla, which felt like they were Witcher clones and they weren't Assassin's games. And there was no order, there's no blade. You're playing these three games, the previous three installments, and you're saying, well, why is this called Assassin's Creed, right? And so they definitely throw it back with this. And I just want to talk about Mirage and my impressions. So first of all, my impressions, this is great. This is fantastic. Super happy that I got this product, paid full price. It's worth it for a guy like me, okay? Because I played the first Assassin's Creed back in 2007. But let's talk about Mirage. It's actually about an assassin. There's actually an order, so that's fun. It is about stealth, and it's about hiding in plain sight, which was what was so cool about the first one, I believe. So if I get in a crowd like this, you see I blend in, and that's often a way that you can get to certain objectives, is by hiding in plain sight, which was the first of its kind. The first time we ever saw something like that with the first one. There's an order. You actually have the blade. I couldn't believe this in the other Assassin's Creed, Odyssey and Mirage and so on. There's no blade. You know, it's such a staple of the series, is the fact that the assassin loses a finger and replaces it with this blade, and you know, assassinates people with it. And you didn't even have that in the previous three installments. It was mind-blowing. So that's, you know, that's back, which is awesome. It is what I'm doing is I'm talking about the stuff that I like. I'm going to talk about the stuff that that I'm less pleased about, but I got to say, overall, I'm very happy with this thing. This is what I wanted. I think a lot of us wanted this, and it is also, I mean, like, the story, people are criticizing it, and you know, who cares really? I don't play video games for stories. If I want to watch a good story, I'll watch a movie. Okay, I'll read a book. I want to actually have an interesting gameplay with some characters that are evil that I want to eliminate, and that's it. Really, that's all I need. Assassin's Creed Mirage is an Arab story set in an Arab world, which I think is important. I wonder what it must have felt like, because the whole story is based on an actual thing, the man in the mountain and sending his assassins down, you know, at the time of the Crusades was a real thing, and that's what Assassin's Creed is based on. And suddenly we have these ancient Greek stories and Viking stories. And I'm sure if someone from that world will be looking at that saying, well, wow, that's our story, and they're completely twisting it. Whereas here in Mirage, we come back to the origin of the whole story. This is where it comes from. This is set in Baghdad, in Iraq, and that's where the original, the premise of the story comes from, that world, and it is set in that world. So I think that's really a smart move by Ubisoft. If you're wondering if you want to get this game again, for those of you who played Assassin's Creed 1, you can kind of fool yourself into playing as Altair again, right? I just wear his costume all the time. Another thing that I liked about, I'm going to talk about Assassin's Creed 1, but what's cool in this game is the death speeches are back. In this game, you kind of feel like your death. There's a big theme on. Oh, look at that! The eagle just came down. There's a big theme of the afterlife and so on, and you feel you yourself. You are bringing death to these people, and they, in their last dying throes, they have these speeches. We see this a lot, a little bit in Assassin's Creed 2, and they just dropped all of that, whereas we see it a lot in Part 1, and it's back in Mirage, where when you assassinate a main target, they suddenly give you a monologue which is free from any kind of pretense because they're dying. You know, apparently the most honest moment in your life is moments before you die. There's no point in pretending anything anymore. You just spill your guts, and you literally spill your guts, right? So that's back, and I think that's really cool. What did I write? Parkour. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not going to talk about the bad stuff yet. The death speech is back. The city itself. Last thing I want to say about the stuff that if you want to get this game, one of the nice things about it is check out how busy this little corner of the street. There are busier areas. Okay, and I just maybe didn't find the best spot, but the city feels alive. I hate these open worlds. I'm so sick of these open world games that are ghost towns where you go to these cities and there looks like there's 8 people that live there. Whereas here, I don't know how many people am I counting here. There's children and so on. There's sometimes someone goes by on a horseback. There's traffic. It's a lot. See the reaction here. See how that guy reacted to the horse that just went by. The city kind of reacts. Now this person has made me and is calling the guards because I got to get out of here. You can't see behind the couch, but I'm at level 1 notoriety level, and someone just spotted me, right? So now I got to leave. So that's, the city definitely feels alive. Here we go. I'm just going to chill here in this bale of hay. And that's great too. I mean, it's so important, I find, is the atmosphere. I don't care about these fancy cutscenes and these kind of witty kind of dialogues that some of the characters have in previous Assassin's Creed games. I don't play video games to listen to interesting dialogue. Not really, right? I'll again, like I said, I'll watch a movie, I'll read a book or something, or I'll have a conversation in real life for that. When I play video game, I want to actually, play a game, which is what's happening here. Now, maybe I can blend in by sitting down here. I cannot. You can kind of sit, and people will kind of ignore you when you do that, but I can't find a chair. Okay. The things that you will not find in this game that I was hoping for, but the sword play, okay, is absolute garbage. So don't come into this thinking you're going to play an interesting kind of like a Ghost of Tsushima, where I find the sword play in that game was so good. In this game, it's just horrible. You're not supposed to use your sword, anyways. It's supposed to be a last resort. So there's that. There are no beggars and bards, which I loved in Assassin's Creed 1 and in 2. So in Assassin's Creed 1, there were beggars all over the street. You would walk down the street, and there'd be a beggar at the corner of that building there, would come up to you and just start harassing you for money. It's the kind of thing that you see if you visit any kind of big city, like for example Montreal. The first thing you notice when you know you're in the city, when you stop at a red light and someone comes up to you and starts asking you for money. And this is what happens in Assassin's Creed 1. And these people blow your cover. There's guards watching you. You're trying to infiltrate a building. You're trying to hide in plain sight, and this beggar comes along and completely blows your cover. And I thought that was great, that reaction. They did not implement that. You could kill those beggars, which was absolutely savage way to react to them. you just like kill them and then walk away, and the guards would notice, and you'd have to get back in hiding. So none of that is there. The bards, I gotta say, in Assassin's Creed 2 were also a lot of fun. Same idea, except that they were playing music. The songs that they played were so good. You realize as you play Assassin's Creed 2 that the bards are actually singing your song. It's about you. They're singing about you, right? Which is completely absent in this game. So, unfortunately, and I think the idea of being able to kill these innocent people, these kind of homeless people and stuff like that, was a bit too touchy. And maybe that's why we don't see a remaking. I don't think we'll ever see Assassin's Creed 1 being remade, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's a bit kind of touchy that you maybe couldn't get away with today. For example, in Assassin's Creed 1, you disguise as a priest, right? Nowhere is this written in the instructions, but trust me, if you've played Assassin's Creed 1, well, I've just been made again. Here we go. So I got to get rid of my notoriety level, which means I have to find a town crier or some posters. Right, like, look at the water effects in this game. Unbelievable. I have this on frame rate mode, not on performance mode, because it's choppy. Okay, I'm playing on PS5, and it's still choppy with all the ray tracing. And here we go. Here's a bench. There. Now, no one's going to make me sitting here. Okay, so, yeah, it's beautiful, right? Even in performance mode. What also is a bit of a bummer, I find, is the parkour. The parkour is clunky, but you know what? It was clunky in Part 2 and Part 1 too. It was always clunky. It's a lot to ask for. All these kind of physics and mechanics and jumping around in ledges, and I mean, of course, it's not buttery smooth because, because assets. And yeah, speaking of assets, this is, if you want to know what Assassin's Creed Mirage is, it's the Ubisoft company has taken the assets of Valhalla and reskinned everything. They built a new map of Baghdad, beautifully, magnificently done. All the reviewers are saying it, and I totally agree. It's definitely something to see. Do I have two microphones on? I don't know. I don't even know if the sound is working on this thing. So they're using the assets of Valhalla, so keep that in mind. Somebody mentioned it in a review. When you watch the main character run, he runs like Eivor. It's true. He runs like a clunky Viking, and not a silky smooth kind of assassin that the main character, I think, is supposed to be. What else can I say? There's no, they don't use the Euphoria engine. Excuse me, I just want to go back to what I was saying about it being an asset of Valhalla. It feels like the Ubisoft team said, okay, we made it an Assassin's Creed game, and we made Valhalla, and they overshot themselves. Honestly, I kind of like Valhalla. I like the whole Viking idea. I hated going into that mythical world where you were a god and you had to fight monsters. I was like, what is going on? This game does not know what it wants to be, right? It wants to be everything. And so I never even finished Valhalla. I just kind of got fatigued by it. So it feels like the guys at Ubisoft said, hold on a second, we're going to just wipe the slate clean, and we're going to take the same assets, and we're just going to remix it into another thing, which is this game. So it feels like a second attempt at with the same assets, and it's a better attempt. I'm going to wait till daytime, because I hate, you can skip time when you're sitting down. Oh no, now it's becoming nighttime. Okay, we're going to wait twice in a row. And once again. So, but I like it. I think it's a good second attempt. This is what they should have done. It feels like the guys at Ubisoft said, we made Valhalla and we're not too happy with it. We should have done this instead. This game. I'll get that plant out of my face. I think and they've done it. They've done a good job. I like this product. I think it's worth it. You know. The last thing I want to say is if you've played Assassin's Creed 1, you'll be expecting the same kind of euphoria engine feeling that first game had, and this does not have it. This is something that we've given up on. And that's what is going to be my segue into the second part of this video, which is we're going to stop talking about Mirage. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed 1 and why you should go back and play that game. I think a lot of people started playing Assassin's Creed with Part 2 and did not play Part 1. So Assassin's Creed 2, everybody talks about Ezio, and yes, Ezio wasn't interesting. Here's a crier right now. I'm just going to get rid of my notoriety level. Boom!
Hard on my heels.
And now I can walk around the city without alerting the population. See, like there's a camel that just went by. So the streets are really busy, right? It's tight. The streets are small and tight, and I'm just going to get on the roof so we can get a kind of view of the whole map. It's a small map, right? Which is fine. You know, the map in Odyssey was ridiculously huge. There's the main palace. First thing I did when I played this game is Is this the main palace? No, it's not even. Oh, I just got shot. Okay, your bird can get shot. That's the main palace, way over there. First thing I did when I loaded up this game was I went straight to that main palace and got on the roof of it. You know, it was me kind of conquering the city, which you can do, which is kind of nice. So there's a lot of things that are like Assassin's Creed 1 in this game, right? You can climb towers. They're kind of like puzzles. You have to find your way up. That was fun. We enjoyed that. Unlock the map, get that viewpoint. You see a tower right there, right there. And so there's a lot of, it's a throwback to Assassin's Creed 1. And the reason why Assassin's Creed 1 was good for me, it was made at a time when the Euphoria engine was a big deal. And we've kind of dropped that whole idea. And everybody was going in on Euphoria, right? A great example of that is Grand Theft Auto 4. Grand Theft Auto 4 was, wow, go back and play that game. Everything feels heavy. Everything feels grounded. It feels like there's a real physics engine that's working really hard. And you feel it. And you felt that they used it in Assassin's Creed. They used it in, I think what was that Star Wars game? I can't remember the name of it, but they used it in sports games as well. And I think it was something that was very demanding. It demanded a lot of processing power, and so they kind of gave up on that. Assassin's Creed 1 came out at a time where I think companies were taking risks, not listening to the public, not listening to public opinion, and just saying, we're going to try something crazy and different. Excuse me. What did I say about AC1? It's dark. It's a dark and gritty game where you play as Death. It's happens during I believe the Second Crusade, and there's King Richard and there's Saladin, and we get both sides of the story. You visit these different cities. The town criers are fantastic for that. The idea that the reason why I don't think it'll get rebooted is that you would disguise as a priest. You would walk around, your hands would come together like this in front of you, your head would go down, and your clothes would, this outfit, Altair's outfit would like kind of turn into robes. Just the way it falls down, right? It almost looks like you're wearing robes now, but when you start running, they kind of billow out, right? But you would disguise as a priest, and you would blend into the crowd like that, and at the same time, you're kind of like a psycho killer that's going around assassinating multiple people, and I think that would be too touchy. I don't think that would fly today, and I think that would offend too many people, because basically you're playing a psycho killer that disguises himself as a priest, right? And I can understand that would be problematic. What was cool about Assassin's Creed 1 is you assassinate these people and you second guess yourself, because, and here's spoiler alert with AC1, your boss, the leader of the assassins, is the villain, right? What's his name? al-Mualim, right? And so when you assassinate people, you end up kind of regretting, and you're asking yourself, hold on a second, am I the hero or the villain of the story? This is what was so good about AC1. And it was, there was a little side story with Desmond, which, by the way, there's none of this here, which is honestly a relief, because the only time they pulled that off, you know that background story you see in all the Assassin's Creed where it's in real life someone gets into this thing called the Animus and then they go backwards in time, but you actually get to play those people? We hated that. It was boring, it was annoying. However, play Assassin's Creed 1 and they pulled it off only in that game. That whole Desmond story happens in one room. You can't leave the room. And it's good. You go through the computer when the employees are away. You eavesdrop on conversations that are happening in another room and so on. And it was well done. And then it got annoying. Then as quickly as in Assassin's Creed 2, we were sick of it. We hated leaving the Animus and going into real life. So they cut that out. That's one, I would say, another good thing about this game. There's none of that. Yeah, and the only thing, the big regret that I have is there are no beggars and bards. I love the bards. I love their songs. I love those distractions and how they would blow your cover. That was a dynamic, and it made the city feel, just a little detail like that made the city feel alive. This game, like I was saying, feels like an attempt to redo what they did with Valhalla. Okay, we did Valhalla. It didn't really work out. And we're going to take exactly the same assets, the same engine, just repaint it, build a new city, and almost, it feels like a second attempt. And it works. It's good. We like it. I enjoy it. I like walking through these streets. For me, Assassin's Creed Mirage is like Far Cry Primal to Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4, no one cares about that game. No one remembers it. No one. They tried to make a new villain. They tried to redo that whole Voss thing. It didn't work. But then they took the same assets. This is what this game is. They took the Ubisoft team does this. They took the same assets of Assassin's Creed, Far Cry 4, and they made Primal, and that was good. That's one of my favorite Far Cry's. I would say Far Cry 2 is absolutely my favorite. I'd love to do a video on that someday, but I can't find a copy on PS5. And they took the assets of Assassin's Creed 4 of Far Cry 4 and they made a beautiful game, which is Far Cry Primal. And Assassin's Creed Mirage is the Primal to the Far Cry 4. Assassin's Creed 2 Valhalla. Oh boy, I don't know if that's confusing or not there, but that's my final take on this game. So yeah, I say enjoy it, especially if you played Assassin's Creed 1 there. Come back to this, a lot of fun. A lot of what we missed is back, and I can't wait to see what they do when they revamp the engine and give us more of this. This is what Ubisoft is going in the right direction with this game. Okay, that's all I have to say, and goodbye.